Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo of the Code 7 Podcast Network, and we're about to get started with Open Mic Live. But as always, a word from our sponsors.
At InDigital, we know the public safety professionals hold themselves to a high standard. In fact, standard doesn't do it justice. In over 25 years working alongside you, carrying millions of calls over our IP networks, your dedication has inspired us. That's why our ESI Net goes beyond industry standards, not only I3 compliant, but designed to adapt to future development for a network you can count on when it matters most. Learn more at indigital.net.
Carbine, it's multimedia. You can get text, translate to whatever language, getting away with the legacy equipment and going into a cloud-based solution.
It's the first time in U.S. history that we have an EZNet through cloud-native call handling.
As a police officer, to have the victim go video, that's unheard of.
You're getting upgrades every month, not every year.
To schedule your free Carbine demo, please visit carbine.com/WTT.
If Within the Trenches has ever taught you something, open your eyes to what it is like to be a 911 dispatcher, or has inspired you to become one, then help support us and join our Patreon. Get exclusive bonus content, one-of-a-kind swag, discounts on merchandise, ad-free early access to new episodes, and much more. To join, please visit patreon.com/WTT podcast. And if you're an industry partner, we have something for you as well. And now, for the show.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned.
Dispatch.
There is no one over here to cook our lunch. We are waiting for our lunch, and there's no one here to cook our lunch.
All right, calm down. Where are you at?
The group home. Now, what are you going to do?
We'll get some help over there for you, okay?
Welcome to Open Mic, where we visit the lighter side of dispatch, because laughing is good medicine. Hi. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Open Mic Live. It is, wow, it's already November 17th. Man. I am fresh back from right there, New Jersey, Nina. I thought I'd represent. Plus, it's cold. It's cold up in here, man. Oof. Let's see. James says, from the dark room of my favorite pizza place in South Jersey. Yo, Keely, what is going on? Hey, yo. We got Karen up in this piece. My homie, Teresa. Yeah, this is awesome. It is always good to have all of you here. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, roll call. Throw that in the comments. Also, if this is your first time here at Open Mic Live, please throw that in the comments as well. And what is your number? It's Thursday, right? So this is what we do in Open Mic Live. We check in with each other, and on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being shitty and then 10 being awesome. How are you doing? How are you feeling? I am just like James. I'm coming in at a 10 because this has been a phenomenal week. It's been fantastic. Awesome. Teresa, first time today. Keely says, man, I'm exhausted as fuck. It was a long drive for me from Detroit, but it was still good. Like, I got in late last night and I stayed the night in Detroit, and then I came back today. So this live broadcast is sponsored by InDigital as well as Carbine. Big shout out to patrons as always. Thank you so very much. We've got some numbers that are coming in here. Teresa says she's a 5, getting over the sick crud, knocked out over half of my shift. No way. Well, at least it's the crud and not the vid, right? So that's good. That's very good. Also, please make sure to share this broadcast on your page or your favorite dispatch page, and also throw some reactions in there, because the more reactions and shares and everything, the more that people will see this, and we can bring more people in here. Also, if you have any funny 911 stories, please throw them into the comments. I'll make sure to read those. And I've got some funny stories as well, and a picture that I want to show. And yesterday, actually, before I get to this, I want to mention this first. So, as you know, in just about 3 or so weeks is Dare to Be Great 4. If you have not registered, please make sure to do so. And I'm putting the registration link and everything inside the comments here. So make sure to share that as well. Remember, if you can't attend live, register either way so that you can go back and you can watch it on demand on your time. So please make sure to get in there and enjoy that. I've got probably in the next week or so. Actually, no, next week. By next week, I have all of the sponsor information that's going to be coming out as well. So please make sure to check out for that. And a big thanks to all of our sponsors for everything, because I wouldn't be able to do all of this if it wasn't for all of you. But even more so, more importantly, all of you attendees, the most vital piece of public safety, dispatch, the thin gold line. So thank you all very, very much. Again, I am super excited for Dare to Be Great 4 to be coming out, and all of the amazing sessions and industry partner leaders in this industry that are going to be a part of this. So thank you all very, very much. Get out there, register, and then share it up. Gary busting in here, yo, from Northwest New Jersey, currently at the bowling alley with 91 bowlers, so I'm at a 10. Excellent. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. So, as I was starting to say, again, big shout out to New Jersey Nina. It was an excellent conference, and yesterday I did Imagine Listening, and I think one of the best parts was the fact that maybe 3 or 4 people in the audience knew what the movement was all about, but also they had never been in Imagine Listening session before. So it was it was really, really good. And to be able to tell everybody about it, share these stories, and people were sharing left and right. There was one that I read as well, which was excellent. Paulo, what's going on? Howdy from deep South Texas, aka the Rio Grande Valley. I've got family down in the valley, down around like Donna and McAllen and all of that. So South Texas, I dig it. I haven't been there in a while, but I used to go there every year with my family growing up and everything, and we would go and we would cross the border and visit. I think it was called Las Flores right there, and man, there was a lady. It was down an alley where you would think there's nothing down here, but there was a lady there that was selling these tacos in this like bread, and it was the most amazing thing. And we would go every time, and she would remember us. She's like, "Oh, it's been a year. Come on in." And but excellent area, love it. So we did Imagine Listening. Everybody was sharing stories, and then we did open mic as well. So I've got some stories from there that I'm going to play. And I hope to be able to come back. Excellent area. It was a lot of fun, a lot of adventures, and I hope to be able to come back, maybe do Imagine Listening again, or another session, maybe record some episodes with attendees and stuff. So if you have me back, I would love to come back. It'll be a good time. Teresa says the story that starts there was a lady and an alley. Yes, but not like that. This lady was very cool, and my parents and myself and my siblings, like we went down this alley, and I have no idea. I don't remember how my dad found out about that spot where this lady was. I think my uncle maybe told him, and but we went, and man, best food, the best food right there. It was excellent. So Gary, hashtag just a tinkle, not dropping a deuce. That was a funny story as well. Um, so before we get into some of the audio that I want to share with you and some of this other stuff, I want to tell you a story, okay? Something that happened. I think this was Monday. So, um I and all the stuff that I'm gonna be talking about is going to be minimized. Like, I'm not gonna be going into detail. I'm not gonna be using any names, nothing like that. But there's part of this story that, was hilarious in a sense, but, it's one of those things where when you're in a conversation, right? And someone is obviously speaking to a person, and that person is not reading the room. You know what I mean, right? Like, read the room, like, understand what's going on, read between the lines. You know what I'm saying? So I end up going to lunch with a couple friends, and we go, and so in this place, it was at the Borgata casino, and we were going to this noodle joint, and in this area where the restaurant is at, there are some smaller tables, individual tables for two people, one on each side, and then the bigger tables, it's like family style, and everyone sits with everyone. So we get there and we sit down, we order. The people who were in front of us ended up finishing up, and they left, and then a couple gentlemen sit down in front of us, and another guy ends up sitting with them. They were together, so there's three of us on one side and three on the other, and then there's another group of guys at the end of the table, and there was three of them. They were together. So we're sitting there and we strike up a conversation, and it was a fascinating conversation. I will just say that it was outstanding. I have never, like, I'm fascinated with people in general and their stories and how they present themselves and everything. And the gentleman in front of us, their group, it was just um it was just really, really fascinating, the conversation. Um so as we're talking, I mean, we talk. We were talking a little bit about politics. We were talking about how things were, growing up and stuff, and we start talking kind of about the generation gap, and how some of the things are now versus how they were um, back in the day. Really, is basically how to put it. And it's funny that I'm telling this story while I'm wearing a hat, and you'll see why. So the gentlemen that were sitting in front of us, they were all kind of in their 70s. But let me tell you, they didn't look like it. They looked like they were 20 years younger. And these three men were awesome in my opinion. They were very cool, and like again, the conversation that we were having with them, it was just great. So the three guys on the side, one of them is wearing a hat at the table. Now, depending on how you were brought up, wearing a hat at the table is a no-no. Mm-mm. You don't do that. And like myself growing up, it was the same way. My parents were old school, and, that's how they were brought up, that's how they brought us up. And if you wore a hat at the table, nope. You were gonna hear it. So, as we're sitting there, we're talking again, we're talking about the generation gap and just how things were back in the day to how they are now, and how, there are some that, were not brought up, the same way, like, those values, they're not always there, I guess, in certain, with certain people. So, these this guy's wearing a hat at the table, okay? And one of the guys who's sitting in front of us turns to them because he's saying to us, I want to tell you a story really quick, but hold on one second. And they end up oh, hold on. Karen says you have to add that they were not small, meek gentlemen. No, no, these gentlemen were I'm just gonna say strong. They were could be seen as, maybe intimidating, a little bit. We weren't intimidated or anything. I mean, we were having this amazing conversation with them, and, I was comfortable, calm. It was great. So, let's see, Jessica here says, "Get a nosebleed from mama knocking that hat off your head so fast you don't know what hit you." Okay, yeah, yeah. So right? Yeah, Okay, so one of the guys ends up looking at those 3 and kinda smacks his hand on the table and says, "I'm talking here. I need you to listen up because 'cause I'm gonna tell a story, and you need to hear this." And, like, the 3 of them are right away like, "Okay, okay," and in the back of my head, I'm thinking, "You're wearing a hat at the table." That's all I could think was that he's gonna say something to them about it. So, um, the one who starts telling the story, he goes, "So, I have a grandson, and, um, he wears his stupid hat all the time. Whenever he comes by, he's wearing this hat, and he's kind of glancing over at the guy who's sitting there with his hat on while he's telling this story, and I'm just like, "Dude, take your fucking hat off." Like, immediately, just with that little bit, take your hat off. And he goes, "He's always wearing this stupid hat." He comes into the house or he'll sit at the table, and I'm always telling him to take his hat off. So one day he tells me that he's going to take this girl out on a date. And I tell him, when you go out on this date with her, when you go to sit at the table, take your hat off. And he asks why. And he says, because 2 things. One, it's disrespectful to her. And 2, it's disrespectful to anybody else who's sitting at that table with you or around you. So make sure you take your hat off. And again, he's looking at the guy with the hat on every so often as he's telling this story. And I'm just gonna put the hat because let me show you really quick. So the guy's sitting there like this with his hat on. As the story progresses, the guy starts slowly taking his hat off, but the hat ends up like this, almost as if he's being a smartass about it. And all I could think was, read the room, okay? Read between the lines, because he's obviously telling you to take your fucking hat off. So, so he tells his grandson this, right? And he says he ends up going on the date. And when he gets back, he calls me up and he goes, "Pop, you were right. You were right." And he goes, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Well, we go out and when we get to the table, I took my hat off. And what happened was she ended up leaning in and said, "Thank you for taking your hat off." And he goes, "She knew. She knew." And then the guy telling the story goes, "Yeah, she knew um because she just knows that's, that's the way it is." He goes, "And we're old school and that's how we were brought up." And I said to him, I know exactly, what you mean, but he goes, "Why do you think that she knew that?" And I immediately said, "Well, because that's how she was brought up as well. That comes from upbringing. She knew that part because that's how she was brought up." And he goes, "Exactly." And I said, My family was the same way." I said, "My parents were old school as well. And if we wore a hat at the table, like, you were going to hear it. Like, they would have you." And, and as we're saying this, he's still kind of looking over at the guy, and the dude never took his hat off. Like, if you needed more of a reason to take your hat off, I mean, that was it right there. And the guy sitting in front of me, he was saying the same thing. He's like, "Yeah, we're old school. This is where we come from. You don't sit at the table with your hat on." And like, it's obvious. And I said, "No, no." I said, "Definitely, I understand." I said, in my home growing up, excuse me, it was all about respect and discipline." And the gentleman in front of me goes, "That's right. That's right." He goes, "It is all about uh, respect and discipline." So we continue on this amazing conversation, which I will say, they gave us a shout out because we were they were wondering what was on my friend's cardigan, and she was explaining that it's a 911 organization, and just explaining what we do. And I mentioned that, we were all dispatchers and such at a time. And wait, let me see. Teresa says, "I would have just leaned over, flipped it off, and said, 'Catch the drift, dipshit.'" Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But the person sitting across from us had said, "I respect what you do because it takes a special person to do that job." So it was, giving us props. So it was a great conversation. It was really cool. But at the end, um they end up leaving, and they say, "Thank you for the conversation." We were saying the same thing back. I thank them for the conversation and the company and everything. And we were telling stories. We were there for a while, and it was fascinating. So two of them leave one way, and the guy who told the story about the hat and his grandson walks the opposite way and stops where the guy is with his hat on still. And he says to him, "Look, it's no disrespect. We're all adults here. You can do what you want with your hat. But let me tell you this. Your mom is going to have you because you have your hat on at the table." And he just started laughing, and he walked off. And I'm just sitting there like this. But then after they were gone, the guy who was wearing the hat ends up saying, "If he wanted me to take my hat off, he should have just told me to take my hat off." And I wanted to lean over and say, "He did tell you to take your hat off in the beginning of the story, when he said my grandson is always wearing his stupid hat and I have to tell him to take it off." He told you. But they were kinda talking some smack and stuff, and all I could think was, "Mm-mm, no, don't be talking shit." It was it was amazing. It was amazing. It was so good. But again, that dumbass w was not reading between the lines at all. Gary says, "We got some real thick-headed peeps." Yeah. Yeah, well, and so when they were telling, when he got done telling the story, he goes, "This is what it is, with some of the people in the generation, this generation that's coming up. They don't understand this or that." And I'm like, "Dude, just take it off, man." Oh, yeah, it was hilarious. It was hilarious, but it was a good time. Now, while we were there, we were asking for recommendations for restaurants and stuff, and we got a recommendation, and we were lucky enough to be able to go to the most exclusive Italian restaurant in all of Atlantic City. And Keely says, hashtag place that requires safe words. Yes. Don't say it though. So the name of the restaurant that we went to, I'm putting it in the comments right now, is called Chef Vola's. And it's a two-story house. And there are tables like in the basement area, in the porch area, and then inside of the house, and it has just an amazing story to it. The food, phenomenal. I have never had Italian food like that before, and it was fantastic. Like, I can still taste it. Like, that's how good it was. And there's like a you have to call for reservations, and if you get lucky enough, which we did, um, you're able to go there. But see, some of the stuff is like you call and ask for a reservation. If you get a call back and you don't answer, like that's it, dude. Like you don't get another shot. And go to the website. It's password protected. But one of the coolest places, and for the everybody that we all went, our group that ended up getting a chance to go, it was an awesome time. And to the person who made that recommendation and everything, thank you, because that was really, really cool. Um, the desserts, the desserts, whew, the desserts were to they were really, really, really good. And that, I'll just say this, one of the servers said to us, um, "That banana cream pie is one that you wanna get because Frank Sinatra used to come here, and that was his favorite." And all I could think was, "Huh?" Like, for real? It was a very, very cool place. There are tons of people that go there. Um, I mean, there's pictures, and I'll be posting some of the pictures later on, but in the area that the people who I was with that we were in. There's pictures all over the place of like the owners with, musicians, other like famous chefs and actors and just a lot of celebrities and stuff. And if you get a chance to go, I highly recommend it. Um, but it was really cool. Like you can look it up on you can Google it. There's and see the history and everything else. And James says, if it was good enough for old Blue Eyes, it's good enough for you. Dude, I was in like a different dimension when I tasted some of it. I got the tiramisu, and I've never had tiramisu like that before. But again, if you get a chance, you're in Atlantic City, Chef Vola's is the place. But again, you have to call, and it's like a 3-month wait for reservations. We were just lucky enough that we were able to get in there. Again, thank you. Thank you. That was amazing. And thank you for the shout out to Dispatch as well. That was awesome. So going from there, I want to jump into some of the funny calls. Um, and again, I'll post some pictures up from our time at that restaurant. But Chef Vola's, amazing, amazing chef's kiss, everything amazing, super amazing. So I'm gonna switch up my audio here really quick, and all right, there we go. Um, I'm gonna switch up the audio really quick just so that you can be able to hear the audio. So again, yesterday I did Imagine Listening as well as open mic, and I want to share some of the stories. I think there's 4. I'm only going to share 4 of the stories that were shared yesterday during the session. But from what it looked like, everybody had a good time. Again, Imagine Listening is always emotionally intense in the beginning, and then of course we finish it off with open mic so that we can laugh, because laughing is good medicine. And I hope all of you who were there that you enjoyed it. And again, I hope I'm able to come back. That would be awesome. So here is one of 4 of the calls that were shared. This is gonna be good. All right, here we go.
So I started. I was only there maybe 6 months, and I answered the 911 call, and the guy was just yelling, "Big, big, 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 big." And I said, "Sir, what's wrong?" He was like, "My wife, big, 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 big." And I said, "Okay, sir, I need to know. It's 911. Is it a life-threatening emergency?" "Yes, yes." I said, "Okay, sir, what's big? What's wrong?" I was like, "What happened?" He was like, "Oh, my wife, her vagina, big, big, big." And I went,
Okay, hold on a minute. Before we go any further, any of you who are here right now, have you ever taken a call like that? Have you taken a call where someone is calling in saying that their wife or their girlfriend, whichever, the lady parts are big, 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 big? I I know I haven't. I have not. Hank, what is going on, Hank? I have not. I I never took a call where someone was saying that the lady parts were big, 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 big. So please, in the comments, whether even if it's a no, just put it in there because I'm curious. And if you've had something similar, throw it in the comments as well because I read those. So let me let me rewind just a little bit and here we go.
what's wrong? He was like, my wife, big, 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 big. And I said, okay, sir, I need to know. It's 911. Is it a life-threatening emergency? Yes, yes. I said, okay, sir, what's big? What's wrong? I was like, what happened? He was like, oh, my wife, her vagina, big, big, big. And I went, and my dispatcher next to me was like, what's the matter? I said, I don't know. He said her vagina's big. She was like, what? I said, exactly. I said, okay. So my instant thought, and which I wish I didn't say it when I got back on the radio, on the phone, I said, what did you do to it?
So, how many of you would have responded that way as well? This person said that their response was, what did you do to it? Okay, let's continue.
Back on the radio, on the phone, I said, what did you do to it? And my dispatcher next to me was like, what? I said, sir, what happened to it? What did you do anything to it? Did she do anything to it? He was like, then I said, wait a minute. I said, sir, wait, is your wife pregnant? And he was like, yes, yes, I see the head. And I said, oh my God. So we used to joke with our ambulance when we used to call him. I said, you have a good call. And he goes, what? I said, you have to respond to this lady. And he goes, what's wrong? I said, her vagina's big. And he goes, what? I said, exactly. I said, no, she's pregnant. She's having a baby. But that was one of my favorites.
Thank you so much. See, this is why I love doing the Imagine Listening session. Again, we start out emotionally intense and we share these powerful stories, right? And then we go to open mic and there's stories like this. And what's funny is some of these, it's the same like call type, right? But the calls are never the same. The call type might be, but what happens during those calls are not the same, right? like this one, I've never heard someone call in to say that the lady parts are big, 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 big. And for dispatch to ask, well, what did you do to it? Or what happened to it? I mean, that is a reasonable question. And James, yeah, I agree. What happened to it? I mean, of course, I would think as well, like, she's got to be having a baby, like, unless, I don't know, a bee stung it or I don't know why I said that, but oh my God. Let's see, Teresa says, that's right up there with my first medical call about the guy whose balls hurt because his girlfriend left him in a way. Right, yeah. And Hank says, a bee. Oh, jeez. Gary, my oh man. See, this is the thing, is that when there's calls like this, stories or whatever, my face gets all red and like obviously my ears are red too. Oh man. Yeah, so it happens, right? It happens. Oh man. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. I love doing this, by the way. I know I say it all the time, but I mean it all the time. I love doing open mic and having you all here to share in this. It's always good. Okay, here's the next one.
But we were, it's again, early in our 911, when our center started actually doing 911. And I get a call from this gentleman and panicking. He goes, my brother, he's stuttering. He's like, what's going on there, sir? He says, my brother, his penis is swollen. Okay, go through the cards. There's nothing there for penis smelling. So I treat it as such, okay, we'll go through all the questioning and write down on the, we were still using cards. So I wrote down swollen penis and slid it across the console to my partner, who's also a good friend of mine. And it's dead silence. He's looking at the card. He's not saying a word. And he looks at me and goes, what am I supposed to do with this? I said, use your imagination, man.
Okay, so let me stop it right there. So this is back in the day, right? And they're still they're using cards. And so he's writing down all of this information and what is going on, and this dude's got literally an overabundance of wiener going on. It's swollen. So he writes it down and slides it over to his partner, who's got to give it out. Can you imagine being the partner, reading the card and being like, well, okay, like, okay, let's continue.
And I just thought it was I just thought it was funny because I just set him up to. I did that deliberately just to set him up. Yeah, I wasn't lying, but it was just actually. Yeah, he probably still hates me for that. And him and I are good friends, and we go fishing together and everything else. So. But that was the beginning of 911 for us, and then I just thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. Him, not so much, but I thought it was funny because it was his voice on the radio. That's all there is.
That's nuts.
I didn't think that picked up on the recording. Obviously it did. So I know I've shared this story before, but when I was in training, I had a truck driver who called in from a rest area, and I don't know how this happened. I didn't ask for like any detail or anything like that. Teresa says, respond to swollen man appendage. Yes, you're correct. I I'm in training, and I take this phone call from a truck driver who's at a rest area. Again, I don't know how this happened. I mean, I can imagine, but I don't want to. And but the guy goes, I need an ambulance to come out here to assist me. And I'm like, well, I asked what's going on, and he says that his wiener is caught in the zipper. So I I get all the information. I put him on hold so that I can page out for EMS. And I look over at my trainer and I said, how do I put that out there? Like, what am I supposed to say? And she goes, well, just say that it's a male with penis problems. So I said, okay, tone out. And I tone out and give it out that way. Respond to male subject with penis problems. And I unkey. And my trainer is just looking at me like this. And I said, what? What did I say wrong? And she goes, I didn't think you were going to say that. And I said, well, you told me to say it. That's what you told me to say. Like, I'm in training. Of course I'm going to listen to you. And she's just laughing. And the one of the guys that was going out there on the truck, he calls up and he's like, penis problems? And I was like, dude, his junk is stuck in his zipper. And he goes, how did he do that? I said, I don't know. I said, I didn't go any further and ask, but he's not in any danger. Like, I mean, he's hurting, but there's nobody around him that's, he's not in danger like that. And they're like, okay, we'll head out there. And if I remember correctly, there was no transport or anything like that. They ended up helping him out. But I think the last time I shared that, wait, hold on a minute. Teresa says crotch entrapment, full response. Yeah. Oh, that is funny. That is a good one right there. Entrapment. And it's true. But I'll never forget that because I ended up putting it out that way. Again, I'm in training, so of course I'm going to put it out that way. Respond to a male subject having penis problems, or respond to a male subject in a semi in reference to crotch entrapment. What? I don't think I've ever heard of that. I don't even know what that is. What? I'm going to have to Google that. Or wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't. I'll let all of you Google that. How about that? Yeah. I'll Google it when I'm not on air. All right, here's the next one.
So I was working an evening shift, midday, probably kids got out of school. We take a 911 call, frantic caller, keeps telling me my baby's not breathing. My baby's not breathing.
Okay, hold on a minute here. Oh, be safe, Hank. Tell her I said hello. Let's see. Gary Tammy Hill here says medical term for erection that won't go down. Oh, see, I didn't even know that. So what I was going to say is, so let's listen here really quick to how this starts.
So I was working an evening shift, midday, probably kids got out of school. We take a 911 call, frantic caller, keeps telling me my baby's not breathing. My baby's not breathing.
So there have been a few times that I've been doing open mic and a call starts like this, because there's a bunch of funny stories, right? Funny calls that have been shared. And then there will be one that starts like this, where it's talking about someone who's not breathing. And you see everyone in the room go like, should we be laughing at this? All right. Hear me out. Hang in there.
So, of course, right away, we dispatched the officers. Heavy traffic, got a state highway. They're driving in the medians. They're taking down signs. I'm trying to get more information. I'm trying to EMD. Did the baby have any history? No. How old's the baby? They're giving me ages. Is the baby on any medication? And then finally, I asked if the baby's been to any doctors. And the caller goes, my baby doesn't go to doctors. It's a cat. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Hold on. You said your baby's not breathing. Yes, it's my baby. It's a cat. Yes. Like it drinks milk out of a saucer. Yes, it's a cat. Like meow. So I'm trying to give this to the officers.
I think that was the part that made me laugh the most when the person who's telling the story goes, "Like meow?" Oh, this is the best.
Yes, it's a cat. Like meow. So I'm trying to give this to the officers as they are still going lights and sirens. One has now taken down a mile marker sign. You have to get on the radio and be like, I'm now being advised it's a cat, which now we proceed to go through the whole phrase again. You said it was a baby. I know I said it was a baby. Now I'm saying it's a cat. Like an animal? Yes, like it drinks milk. It's not a baby. Yes, it's a cat. Has collar, shakes, all this. And of course, they get there. It turns out it was a cat. The person called 911 for us to take it to the vet. But yes, it started off my baby and ended with milk in a saucer.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So, again, some of those calls start out that way, where it's someone who's not breathing or a baby that's not breathing, but then it turns out like that. This one was a cat. Another one that I've heard, my baby's not breathing, or my friend is not breathing at first, and then it's my baby's not breathing, and they're doing CPR, and this one, it turned out that it was an iguana. That was the caller's friend. That was the caller's baby. It was an iguana that they were doing CPR on. Another one, help gets out there, and the person's doing CPR on a bird cage. No shit. You can't make this shit up. It was a bird cage. This Gary says, hashtag, like it drinks out of a saucer. Yeah. Oh, man. That is funny. All right. Here's the last one, and then I have a picture that I want to show you.
So one of the first years I started working, I picked up a 911 call. I was working an afternoon into an evening shift, and I had a little lady clearly on the phone, very upset. Started off with, my husband's not responding. And I'd been trained. I knew what to do. I'm like, okay, great. So I go through my EMD, get the information from her, and I'm starting to talk to her. Okay, is he awake? No, I don't think so. Is he breathing? I can't tell. So with our EMD, we have a timer to time out to see, for chest rise, to see if the person's breathing. I use it. Clearly, no breathing. So I'm starting to go into CPR instructions, and I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm going to do this. It's been one of my first good CPR calls. Like I've practiced for this. And I get into the positioning instructions of lay him flat on his back on the ground with nothing under his head. And she said, I don't know if I could do that. I said, well, I need you to try so that we can do everything we can for him. She goes, well, hang on a second. And I hear her in the background do this. They want you to lay on your back on the ground. And at that moment, all I hear is, leave me alone. I said, ma'am, what is he doing right now? And she says, well, I just woke him up and he's going to the bathroom. And now here I am, within a year of working, and I'd been trained on how to give CPR instructions, but I don't think anybody had ever told me how to get from halfway into CPR instructions back to the caller had no idea what they were doing when I started this call, and get back out of it. And all I could say to her was, ma'am, when you said he wasn't responding to you, what were you talking about? And she goes, oh, well, he was mad at me because I wouldn't bring him milk for sleeping. So I sent the officers over anyway because they were already on the way. And sure enough, he was fine. He was absolutely fine. And I think that's really the crux of this job is it can go from 0 to 100, but it can go from 100 back to 0 real fast. Thank you.
So there you have it. And that's the way it is, right? In this profession. It goes both ways. And man, when you get into those moments, or like that, you're trying to get someone to do CPR on whoever it is that's there, that they're saying needs help, and then you hear the person speak, and you think, wait a minute, ma'am or sir, what? Like, I thought the person was unconscious, I thought they were not breathing or anything. Like, oh, no, they're, I guess they're okay now. You're like, wait, what? Or you'll be giving CPR instructions, right? This is one that I've heard too, that they're giving CPR instructions, and the person who they're doing CPR on is like, what are you doing? Get off me. And the person's like, I'm trying to do CPR on you. And they're like, I'm breathing. I'm okay. But even with that, it's good. It's okay, because that means they're not laying there, possibly going to pass away or whatever. They're okay, and it's all right. But it's those moments where you're just like, is this real life? What is going on? Okay, so earlier today I saw this picture, and I want to share it with all of you, because I want to see. So I used to do a segment on here called Dispatch This. Okay. Oh, Gary says, don't talk back to me. I'll tell you when you're okay. That's funny. Oh, that's great. So there was a picture that I saw on Facebook before I came upstairs here to go live. And I thought, man, this would be cool to show and to see how all of you would dispatch this. Okay. So here it is. Let me put it on the screen here. And I'm going to read it as well. It says, meanwhile, in Montana, a handful of cows found their way into a newly built home and lived in it for a month before being noticed. The family was moving from Washington. The aunt was supposed to be checking on the place, but she didn't. A rancher had filed a report about missing some cattle and even checked their barn, but not the house. They think a bad storm sent them looking for cover. They also think the storm blew a door in, or somehow one of the cows nudged one open. Now, it took me showing this to my kids to realize that there's a cow in the picture. Because I just glanced, and Karen, the family was moving. That's amazing. But look in the picture. The cow is right there, staring at the person who's taking the picture. I didn't notice that at first. I just glanced, and my kids are like, Dad, there's a cow in the picture. I was like, what? And I was like, oh my God, there is. Now look at the floor. It looks like a pan of brownies. And Gary says, I call bullshit. Hi-yo. So how would you dispatch this? Let's say someone is calling. I don't know. Would they call in for an animal complaint? Would they call in for destruction of property? Trespassing? Oh, how would you dispatch it? Seriously, how would you dispatch this? If this was a call that came in and someone needed to file a report for it, for like insurance or whatever. And can you imagine being the officer who has to go out there? I mean, I'm sure animal control would be the one to go out, maybe, right? Possibly. But can you imagine being the person going out there to take this complaint? The smell alone of cow patties. Ugh. It wouldn't just be, it would be like, I mean, look how deep it looks. I don't know how many cows there were. Like, it doesn't say. It says a handful. Well, that's not a handful of shit right there. That's a lot. Again, it looks like brownie batter. What's funny though is that if you look at the cow's face, like the cow's like, dude, it wasn't me. I swear I was telling my homies, like, we can't stay in here that long, man. Like, eventually these humans, they're gonna see us. I swear to you, it wasn't me. See, James says, Patrol, can you steer your way over to 123 ABC Drive for unwanted guest? I like how you threw steer in there. Very nice. See, Teresa says, respond to a squatter cow refusing to move out. like like goat having a bad day. Oh my god. Gary says, B&E in progress. Suspect described on key. Turn to supervisor and say, nope, can't do it. Have the unit call in. Oh man, that's the best. Yep. I mean, yeah. I'd put it out there, something like that. Be in reference to several cows squatting in a residence. Color advised. The smell is bad. Color advised. The inside of the residence now looks like brownie batter. They would like you to respond and take a report, possibly assist in removing the cows from the residence. And the officers would be like, Central, I'm gonna call. I'm gonna call you in just one moment. Oh man. Yeah, that's horrible. Like I wouldn't want to be the one responding. Excuse me. I would love to be the one taking the call, but also putting the call out on the radio. That would be outstanding. It would be all about it. But I would probably, since it's, a priority 3 complaint, I would definitely trying to make as many puns as I could going into it. And then whatever officer went out there, I would probably ask for some pictures, maybe some video, because look at that shit. That looks gross. Like you can smell it. All I can think of is Biff from Back to the Future saying, manure. I hate manure. Let's see. James says, easy answer. The house is now the barn, and the barn gets renovated into a house. Dude, that would be pretty awesome because a lot of people, they end up turning barns into houses, and those houses are pretty badass. So there you go. And this is in Montana. Meanwhile, in Montana, and if you remember from my story yesterday, the story that I closed out on, Montana, that's where that happened. Teresa says, respond to prime rib is no longer prime real estate. Oh, that's great. Oh. Well, we have come to the end of this week's open mic. And thank you all very much for joining me here tonight. It is always fun to be here with you, share stories, and just all of it. So thank you so very much. I've had a good time, and I hope that your numbers are a lot higher. Teresa, I know you came in at a 5. You're feeling sick. Hopefully, it went up at least one notch. And anybody else, if you had a low number as well, I hope that it went up a little bit with our conversation here, laughing, talking, just all of it. And Gary, no, thank you, thank all of you for the opportunity. Again, I hope to come back. I would love to come back and do more, and just it'll be good. So thank you all so very much once again. This live broadcast is sponsored by InDigital as well as Carbine, and a shout out to patrons as always. Thank you very much. If you have any comments, questions, or you want to be a guest on the show, you can email us, and that's going to be wttpodcast@gmail.com. Once again, that is wttpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter. That is @901podcast. You can like us on Facebook. That is facebook.com/Within the Trenches Podcast. And this can be seen on, well, actually, before I get to that part, bonus content. If you're looking for any bonus content, you want to help support us, hit us up, patreon.com/WTT podcast. And again, DTBG4 is going to be coming up in just over 3 weeks. Make sure to register, share it, get all of your people in your centers to share it as well. One of the things that I'm trying to do is to see who has the most large presence, like representation of your states. As of right now, Kansas is leading. So if there's any other states that want to take them off the top there, share it up. Get people out there to register. It is going to be an excellent time. And again, amazing speakers, awesome industry partners, sponsors that are going to be doing their thing. And Teresa says, yes, 10, laughter is key. Yes, awesome. Also, make sure to look out for episode 469, because Teresa here is featured in that episode. The audio will be going out tomorrow, and then the video will be premiering live on Saturday. So make sure to check that out. It is an awesome episode. I had a lot of fun with her, and it was really good. So again, make sure to register for DTBG4. Share it up. If you can't attend live, register either way so that you can watch everything on demand. So make sure to check that out. And then this can be seen on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Twitter. And then for the flagship show, you can listen 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, and withinthetrenches.net. Have a good one, everyone. We'll see you in the next one.